What's up? Don't mind the look. It's a rough morning, but I definitely wanted to come and make a video about it's stemming from the Kevin Samuels videos, right? And I just wanted to talk about unrealistic expectations when it comes to relationships. Okay, because some people was like, well, how do you agree with Kevin Samuels about what he said to the young lady and also what he said to that young man who had called, 20 years old, 5'10", a virgin, doesn't think he needs to approach women because he feels like he's a total package. And so I went to Kevin Samuels' channel and I started listening to different videos of his. I mean, I binged on it, like I said. And I really don't disagree with much about what he says, because even things that he said about single mothers out here looking for a man, right? He's like, you're not the prize, and once you have 2 kids and you got several baby daddies, your ranking goes down. And as a woman with 3 children and 2 baby daddies, that might have rubbed me the wrong way, but I'm a realist. You know what I'm saying? Do I think as a single mother with 3 children and 2 baby daddies that I'm as appealing as a 22-year-old, bubbly, gorgeous, very proportionate young woman? If there was a single man who is making lots of money and has lots of options, do I think he's gonna choose me over that? You know what I'm saying? No, because I'm a realist. And does that take away from me? Does that mean that I don't value myself? Of course I value myself. I value myself a whole lot. That's why I wouldn't put myself in a situation where I would be demeaned or feel like I'm not good enough or feel like this person is going to leave me at any minute for someone else, because I'm not what they really want. And me and my children might be too much work for them, right? I'm a realist, but a lot of women are not realistic. A lot of men too. A lot of men just think they fine as hell, or they think they just because they making a certain amount of money that negates the fact that they're not attractive. Women are visual creatures as well. Like we don't want to be with the ugliest guy either. But the things that we are attracted to are stability. And that's why a lot of men don't understand like why we want a man that has money or a career or their own place in their own cars, and that they've been maintaining this for a while as an adult, because that points back to how stable you are. And most women, we're looking for stability at the core. When we're looking for these high earners or whatever the case, what we're looking for is stability. And when we want a monogamous relationship, we want monogamy because it goes back to stability. When you have a man who is cheating on you and allowing any female to access what he said is reserved for you, then you start feeling insecure. Like insecure in the relationship. It doesn't mean that you have to feel like you're not worth it. That goes to self-worth. But you're going to start feeling like, well, this relationship isn't as secure as I thought it was, because this man is only seeing women as sex objects. So if he runs across this next woman who's giving him better sex, chances are he might go ahead and go over there with her, because he has no loyalty. He has no concept of having a relationship, be exclusive. Just like you won't want your woman spreading it around. She don't want the same thing, because you guys are supposed to be building together. And building is about trust. You don't want to build with somebody and next minute you think it's going to crumble. You don't want to waste your time building with somebody who you cannot trust. And that's a lot to do with monogamy in relationships. Okay? Okay, so back to women and their unrealistic expectations. Okay, so let's take the woman for example who called into the show. Okay, she from what I heard, I didn't watch that entire show, just from the clip, she earned six figures. She has a dog grooming business. La di da di da. Okay, so he said, "What do you rate yourself?" She said, "A six. Maybe when I wake up in the morning, a five." I didn't feel like the woman had low self esteem when she said that. You know what I'm saying? I feel her confidence diminished through the conversation because she started realizing some of the shit that she was saying didn't really add up. It didn't make sense for the position that she was in. So he said, someone who's a five or a six, who has a teenage son, who has a sketchy baby daddy, you know what I'm saying? And you sitting up there saying you will only date some. Oh no, apparently she had dumped her last guy because he wasn't earning enough. Like, and I that those people like that kind of perplex me. I'm all for women who like to work and are driven and ambitious, but I don't think that they realize that a lot of men who have those same characteristic traits are looking for the opposite in a woman, because relationships are about balance. So someone who works all the time doesn't want another person who's working all the time. They want somebody who's home, making the home, and making an environment where they can be at peace when they get through the stressful environment that they are in out in the world. That's why in the traditional role the women stay home and the men go out, because when you got two people that's going out in a stressful world and coming back, how are they, where's the peace? Who has created any peace there, right? So she's saying she want a six-figure earner, and she don't want anything less. But everybody knows that the ratio to for women to men is out of whack. Like there's like I don't know what the exact number is, but I'm sure it's like one viable male to every 10 women or something like that, right? So it's just a matter of statistics. You know what I'm saying? And and I heard somebody other people say something about, well, aren't we big on manifestation, and why would you try to knock her down about what she wants and say it's not possible? It's No one said it was impossible. There are always anomalies or exceptions to the rule, right? But you also have to recognize the rule and the standard of how things have gone, or otherwise you're delusional, right? It doesn't pay and it doesn't help your future to be delusional. No, you have to be realistic. And even with manifestation, if you don't put the work in, or if you haven't done the shadow work to know what your issues are and why it is that you're saying you want the things that you want, why is she saying she wants a six-figure earner? And if you ask me, it's vanity. Somebody was like, "Oh, how was she vain?" And she rated herself a six. Vanity beyond is beyond um just looks, like your physical appearance. It's also about how you look as a couple to other people. And that's what she's worried about. She's worried about the fact that she's making all this money. How is it going to look if she gets a man who's making less than her? Forget the fact that that man may be able to hold his own. He may have his own home. He may have his own career that has the potential of doubling his income, whatever it is. She don't care about all of that. And that was her problem, because she had blocked out any other avenues for her to be in a successful relationship, because she has sketched out this very strict lane for this person to fall in. And that's an issue. When you're seeking love or you're seeking marriage, you have to have a certain flexibility. You cannot make this rigid standard and expect that you're not going to be single for a while looking for that specific thing. Okay, so I'm gonna take me as an example. As a single, okay, a couple years ago, before I got with my fiance, I was a single mother, busting my ass, um, taking care of three children: a teenage son, a toddler, and a special needs child. Okay, so when I'm out here, I had to sit down with myself and say, well, Chan, what do you really need? I couldn't be selfish and say, well, I'm not taking a man. I know women who are single mothers who say they're not going to date a man that has children. The audacity, the nerve of you. Like, this is what I'm saying. People are really out, they out of their mind. Like, how are you going to demand something like that when you have children yourself? But anyway, so I had to think not just about what I wanted or what I needed, but also about who was right for my children. Because as a mother, my children come first, right? So I couldn't just be out here looking for the best looking guy or the guy who was making the most, because I would have to also take into account, is that person looking for me? What does that person want from me? And what can I offer that person? Right? So my main tenets was I need somebody who is willing, ready, and able to be a father figure in my children's life. My children, all boys at a critical age, that they needed a stable father, right? One who had proven that they can do it and have been consistent with it. So when me and my fiance first started speaking, and he started telling me that he had raised his son by himself and his son was in college, that was a plus for me, because I'm like, well, damn, that shows that he has a consistency to raise a child, and he also was successful at it because his male son, is in college. Of course, there's other factors there, but just from that premise, I can see that he may have the qualifications that I'm looking for. Another thing that I was looking for, I needed somebody who I didn't have to tell to do everything. They were an alpha male, right? And that's why I also think that, checking people's natal chart is important, because believe it or not, that's going to tell you a lot of tenets about their personality, things that they're not even going to tell you. You're looking at their moon sign, you can gauge their emotional IQ. And you're looking at their when you're looking at their rising sign, you're going to see how they come off and present themselves to other people. Looking at their where their Mars is, then you're going to know what their motivation for action is. It's a lot of things that you can tell from a natal chart. But outside of that, it's also a lot you can tell from these conversations that you're having with people. And I don't think women realize how they come off. Like, this women be sitting up here talking about, oh, you sound entitled, you sound this, that, and the third. It's because we really don't, a lot of women don't take into consideration what that man might want, what he might need in a woman. And I can tell you that 9 times out of 10, the main thing that a man wants out of a woman is peace and agreeableness, and someone he doesn't feel like he has to compete with and go head to head. And a lot of women are just fucking combative. You're fucking combative. You come off like you got an attitude problem. Men are attracted to vitality, exuberance. When I say freshness, that's what I meant. Like, they want a woman who seems burdenless, lighthearted. And honestly, and they also want you to care about your appearance, right? They want you to care about your appearance. Keep your shit tight, right? They want the woman that their man's in them is like, yes, okay, yeah, right? Keep your shit tight. Like, it really is not no excuses, because I've had 3 children and I managed to keep myself at a reasonable weight. No, I guess I might be still considered overweight by the chart. And I recognize that, and I'm always working to get myself in order to always be presentable. I never wanted to let myself go. I never got that comfortable where I said, "Oh, I'm good now. Nobody should care about how I look. I got children. I care first and foremost." And that's another thing that goes to self-worth. You know what I'm saying? How much do you value how you present yourself to the world, right? And a lot of women, they just like, this is how I am. I'm not changing. And they still expect to get a man. It's delusional. It's irrational. And it's gonna leave you to be a older single person. And another point that he made was how women who claim they want to be married and have children instead pursue like their drive and ambition kind of says the opposite because of what they're striving for. Like you have these women that want, like he said, PhDs and stuff like that, and still somehow think they're gonna have time to cater to a man and have children. And how? One thing, and then we grew up in a time where women were told, well, you can have it all. You can have a career, and you can have a healthy, thriving family. Is it impossible? No, it's not. It's possible, but the amount of work and dedication, and you have to have the right partner. Okay, if you're just like he said, if your schedule is inflexible, then your mates needs to be flexible. Because how the hell else are you gonna raise children? How? Properly. Okay, yeah, children are gonna grow up and get of age, but that doesn't mean they're raised. Okay, you have to have somebody pouring into children, daily pouring in the knowledge that they gain, daily giving them reassurance and everything. But when you're sending your children off 8 hours of the day, and then you're tired when they come home, you just don't have the energy to do a lot of these things. And I know that some women are doing it, and I know that they take pride in it, and they feel like they're strong women. But that strong black woman thing is a curse. All right, it was never meant for us. We are resilient, so we push through in the hopes that our men are gonna come back around and relieve some of this motherfucking pressure. Okay, and a lot of times it has had the opposite effect on men, whereas though they got so used to seeing their mother work, strive, do everything, that they expect the same thing from a woman. And that's not right. We're not your mother. We don't want to be your mother. We don't want to struggle. Okay? So understand that, and understand that it's not benefiting you to have your woman work as hard as you and then to demand some type of superiority or and pretend that you're the leader. How are you the leader when you're equally both making the decisions of the direction of the family? You're both bringing in the same amount of income, so she has to compete just as hard as you. Do you know a woman competing out in the work world makes her get more testosterone? Do you know black women have more testosterone than white men, than Asian men? We have more testosterone than them because we started working and competing and being aggressive and pulling out more of our masculinity. And by having to do that and doing that based on the circumstances, because we had to provide, now some of us think that that is the proper way. And honestly, if you plan to have children, you have to be in your femininity to give them that balance. If you have a masculine man, then you have to be in a feminine capacity to balance it out. And that's the balance that most children need. And a lot of these boys are walking around very emotional and acting off of emotions and slights to their ego, because they have not built up of the fortitude of a man. They're not used to men, talking to them in a manly tone. They see that as disrespect because they've only been being advised by women their whole life. So it is, men, boys need their father. I was not ignorant to that. And I could have been out here like, well, forget the fact that I got 3 children. I need a man who makes at least $200,000, who has a home already that me and my kids could just slide into. I look good as hell. He gotta be at least 6'2", certain weight. He gotta be fine as hell. All the women gotta want him. You're setting yourself up for failure. Because if you want the man that all the women want, you better be the woman who can fulfill all his fantasies. And that's real. For a woman to think, like, oh my God, the married at first sight thing is a perfect example with the guy Keith. He was a great guy, very patient, very well mannered, and the girl Iris was a virgin, right? And she seemed to be somewhat successful in her career, driven in her career, but she, even though she saw that now they was married at first sight, so they're already married. Now they had to spend 8 whole weeks together. They slept in the same bed together. And the whole time she was just so insecure and uncomfortable in her sexuality that she started to use her virginity as a weapon. That's what she was doing. And that's why he decided not to stay married to her, because he saw that no matter how much he showed the characteristics of a good man and made her feel safe and able to, relinquish her virginity to her husband now for 8 weeks, she never got to that point, because in her mind, that was the last thing that she had to hold on to. If she let that go and gave that to a man, then she wanted that man, she wanted to ensure off of ways that she just could not. You cannot 100% ensure that whoever you give your virginity to, whoever you give your love to, you can never 100% guarantee that person won't change or won't do something crazy that's going to hurt you. You cannot, because it's just too many factors. So if she was waiting for that, she's never going to find that. This man was respectful. He laid in the bed with her for 8 weeks. He didn't try to touch her inappropriately. He didn't talk to her inappropriately. He didn't even let nobody else talk about her virginity in a negative way. And through all of that, she didn't even let him touch a titty. Like, this man had already been having sex. Be realistic. He already gave you 8 weeks of celibacy. And you couldn't let him suck your titty. You couldn't let him touch it. How is that realistic? And people will tell her that that's all right. It's okay, girl. You got to do what's good for you. You got to do what's best for you. Well, do what's best for you, and that's where you'll be, by yourself. You cannot expect to be in relationship with somebody without giving them some of what they want. What's the incentive of them being there? Right? And then you have to go in with the right intentions. If this person met your marks, let it go, girl. Who's judging you? Y'all married. You didn't, so it just, women can really talk themselves out of a great situation. And that's exactly what she did with that. And as far as the other woman who's a 6-figure earner with the pet grooming business, we get it, Ma. We get it. You worked hard for what you got. But the men who work equally as hard and harder have a lot of options. And if you're not attractive, let's be for real. Okay, here we go with the, she should have just rated herself a 10. Or she should have had more confidence and said she was at least a 7. So lie? What does it help to lie to yourself and to lie to other people when we all looking at it. You know what I'm saying? Let's be for real. And not to get down on anybody's looks, but you have to look at what other people are looking at. And it's way in, yeah, and maybe she did lack a little confidence, because the confidence would have kind of gave her a few extra points, because she was all right with how she looked. She was confident in how she looked, but she wasn't. And he pointed that out by the fact that she had on a lot of makeup, she had weave, she had all the things that's going to cover what she would qualify as natural beauty. And believe it or not, most men want to be able to look at you when you take your makeup and your wig off. They want to see good skin, good body when you take your girdle off. Everything doesn't have to be blemish free or, super tight. But come on. Let's put a little stock into our natural selves. A lot of people put too much stock into what you can do to enhance or cover up. Why don't you put that much stock into your natural self? Why hadn't she, if she was a 6-figure, why hadn't she got her teeth fixed? Why hadn't she focused on growing in her own eyebrows as opposed to putting them on? They even have the little things where they make, you know what I'm saying? There was a way she could cater to her natural beauty and start feeling more confident within herself. Not that she needed all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And men recognize. Why you think there's so many men on the internet talking about, why y'all keep wearing these lashes? Why y'all keep wearing this weave? They really don't like that shit. And I know it's women saying, oh, well, we do this for us. Okay. We do get dolled up for ourselves. We do use makeup and hair as another just boost our confidence, or just another style, or based on our, to, display how we are. Fine. But what the men are saying is that when you're doing all of this stuff, they don't even remember what you used to look like without that stuff. And they just want to be reassured that without that stuff, you're still confident. You're still presentable. I don't like men taking all that time to sit there and bash women about their hair. That doesn't make sense to me. But I understand the premise or where it comes from. And I don't think that a lot of women really, really take that into consideration. And 9 times out of 10, like we said, women, I still feel women are the prize, right? But you also have to recognize that having a man is a prize as well. Men give you that covering, that protection, so you don't feel like you're out in the world unprotected and anything can just come to you. They're out front. They're your front line to protect you and your family, and to give you that security and that stableness and that comfort. Men provide that. Most women want that. So why are you making it hard to get that by putting out these superficial things out front? You know what I'm saying? Why is it the first thing you say? So no one wants to feel objectified. No one wants to feel like an object. Okay? They want to be valued and recognized for who they are as a person. So when you running up, and the first criteria is you have to be a 6-figure earner, you know what that says to me? I don't care who you are, how you are, what you want. Just earn this amount of money and we good. So I'm going to pretend about everything else because I'm after your money. Not, I want a loving man. I want a caring man. I want somebody who's ready to be in a relationship. But you're 3 inches too short. Yeah, I know I said I wanted that shit, but I can't get over these 3 inches. You got to be realistic. You got to be realistic. A lot of these men, they think because they earn some money that they can get the baddest boosh out here, right? And then be surprised when she texts that ass. Them bad bitches cost Okay? Not only do they cost, but they want to be spoiled as well. And they have, you know, a lot of high level standards and stuff like that. And they, as just like the high earning men, those very attractive women get a lot of attention. So you need to be able to hold their attention. And your money sometimes is just not, is not enough. Because one thing I know about bad bitches, they can spend like nobody's business, okay? And they want the latest and greatest, all right? So, and a lot of them thrive off of just that attention that they get. So sometimes they want that attention whether they're in a relationship or not. And next, sometimes that leads to cheating. And then now the bad boosh done cheated on you and you hate all women and you want to write off all women, but that's the woman that you went for. Just like when we go for the bad boys and shit don't turn out right, that's who we went for. So we got to deal with the consequences. Like I've dealt with the consequences of my choices in relationship. I have, and I came to the conclusion, and I understood where I was going wrong. So I had to sit with myself. If you never sit with yourself outside of the relationship and you really truly evaluate objectively what was the issue, because the issue could have just been that you just weren't matched from the beginning, or you guys didn't have the same vision and the same goals. The vision is very important at the start of the relationship. Establishing the vision and a goal for the relationship is very important. This relationship that I am, this is the first time we actually sat and we said this is where we want to be in 2 years, 3 years, a year, 5 years. We sat with a plan, so I'm not going one way and he going another way. You got to be on one accord, equally yoked. You know, equally yoked meaning you bring as much to the table as the other person. And what a lot of these dummy men don't understand is money is not the best thing you can get from a woman. Money is the least greatest thing that a woman can provide. Are you serious? You want a woman to prove that she can make as much money as you can make? Why? Go compete with other males. Don't compete with me. Because you can't compete with me on the things that can you have a child and nurture a child and breastfeed a child? So you can't compete with me there. So I should not have to compete with you against men in the work world. Why nobody want to give and take? It's a relationship. Relationships about compromise, submit.